Badlands, run into Badlands, explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Mr. Vice President, I'm going off script again, I know, but I just want to personally thank you. We've been through some stuff. We've gone through some of the most complex military operations this country's ever conducted, and your steady hand and your leadership during those was a great source of strength for me. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your character. Thank you for your selfless service. Thank you for commitment. Thank you for being a mentor to me, Mr. Vice President.
It's called the swamp. And you know what happened? And you know what I did? A big favor. I caught the swamp. I caught them all. Let's see what happens. Nobody else could have done that but me. I caught all of this corruption that was going on, and nobody else could have done it. Did I get that one right? Every 4 years, we gather on these steps to carry out the orderly and peaceful transfer of power. Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning, because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government, while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. This American carnage stops right here and stops right now. The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
This is a president of the United States who is a danger to the Republic.
America first.
He knows he's an illegitimate president.
The oath of office I take today is an oath of allegiance to all Americans.
The great Trump recovery.
America will never be a socialist country. I will fight for you with every breath in my body.
Russia, Russian, pro-Russian, Russian, the Russians.
Russia.
And I will never, ever let you down.
A dangerous virus is spreading rapidly in China, and U.S. officials are very worried that it could come here.
This is really the worst attack we've ever had. This is worse than Pearl Harbor. This is worse than the World Trade Center. There's never been an attack like this.
The time for empty talk is over. Now arrives the hour of action. What they're doing is using COVID to steal an election. Together, we will make America strong again. You know what it's about? Fraud, fake ballots. We will make America wealthy again. They are trying to steal the election.
Now, under the leadership of President Trump, we are fully realizing President Kennedy's prescient view of Special Operations Forces.
We will make America proud again. And watch, please, those mail-in ballots. We will make America safe again. And in millions and millions of ballots. Their vote is under what they thought they needed. They're dumping more ballots in there, okay? And yes, together, we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you. If we are right about the fraud, Joe Biden can't be president.
Congress, the chair declares the joint session dissolved.
Good evening and welcome to the Devolution Power Hour Saturday edition. John is running just a little bit late today, so for the first few minutes, you're going to have me, Patrick Gunnels, and Chris Paul. Chris, how's it going, my friend?
It's going well. I'm back in black.
I love it. Although you are not a disembodied head, you are wearing a light color today, so we can see that you are not, the disembodied head from Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Yes, I've actually never been a disembodied head.
Are you sure about that? I distinctly recall seeing you and wanting to say Mecca Lecca Hi, Mecca China Ho.
That would be I would appreciate and welcome that sort of greeting, but as far as I know, still no disembodied head.
Very well then. So to make sure everybody knows, John's going to be here any minute. So stick around and hit that thumbs up on this video. Big time helps when you do that. We had a rather spirited Liberty Den last night, so I'm kind of hoping to keep that spirit going today, even though I think something's coming. And that's the big, for me anyway, the theme of the day. It's that we've been a little bit foreshadowed at this point. Something's on the way. Donald Trump is riding high. He appears to be defeating them in every way.
Mm-hmm.
What's next? And I think we might be getting a few previews of that today as well. But before we actually get started with all of that, I'd like to talk to all of you about our amazing partners over at Love Litter. That's right, my friends. Attention, all you badlanders with purring pals and feathered friends. Say hello to Love Litters, 100% pure kiln-dried wood, free from chemicals and oh so kind to Mother Earth. No dust, no mess, and no toxins. Just a lightweight solution that's gentle on your wallet and even gentler in your home. Our biodegradable litter is crafted from wood destined for landfills, giving it a new purpose in your pet's life. Cats love it. Our astonishing formula works like magic to neutralize that notorious cat urine odor, keeping your home pine fresh and welcoming. For bird lovers, it zaps moisture from bird droppings, crumbling them away, all while being safe if pecked at or ingested. For reptiles and critters too. Our mix is crafted to dilute the pine scent, ensuring those little lungs stay happy and healthy. Plus, every 30-pound bag of Love Litters will last up to 6 months, saving you money. Transform your pet care routine today. Visit badlandsmedia.tv/litter. That's badlandsmedia.tv/litter. And breathe easy with a litter that loves your pet as much as you do. All right. So what did you want to hop to first? I've got this tweet from Ezra Cohen.
Oh no, I was just throwing that in the mix for later on if we get to that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
I mean, yeah, I think that I don't know. Did Burning Bright and John, the chat can tell us, did they go into this blanket pardon thing? I'm not sure that was a thing by Wednesday, although maybe it was.
I think it was.
It seems to have been expanding over the last couple of days. They keep finding a new person to be the main culprit out there who's going to receive a pardon as part of this blanket pardon, thus showing them to the American public as a potential high-level criminal. Today, I guess it was today. I saw it on Carly's feed, but Adam Schiff actually got asked about this in the halls of the Capitol. And I think that I have a video here. We might as well start with this. What do you say?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. And
you about the presidential pardons. Do you think a preemptive pardon for you is warranted?
I've spoken on this before. I don't think the idea of a blanket pardon of some kind is a good idea, and I would recommend against it.
Even for yourself, have you communicated this to the White House?
I've communicated it publicly multiple times.
So Adam Schiff now, I think, has just become a senator-elect as a result of California's interminable elections. And wait a second, did you see the other day that a final seat in California flipped from red to blue, thus ending their month-long election cycle and making our landslide just a 2-vote lead in the House? Or 3, sorry. No, 2. After Trump's 3
217 to 215.
That's right.
Which
Yeah,
means,
yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, those two numbers add up to 532.
432.
432 plus 100 senators, giving us 3 empty seats.
That's right.
So,
yeah, Matt Gaetz.
That'll be Republican.
Yeah. Well, one would hope, right?
Yeah.
What I'm totally losing her name right now. The congresswoman from New York that's like in Republican leadership, Elise Stefanik.
She's
Gosh,
gone too?
that was crazy. Well, yeah, the 3 people that Trump nominated out of their roles, Stefanik, Gaetz, and Mike Waltz. And so that would take it from 220 down to 217, and you lose 1 vote, and then all of a sudden you're just at 50-50. You can't get that majority. So if Trump just nominates 1 more Republican congressman, he'll have gotten rid of that part of the landslide completely.
Well, they say that history repeats itself, the first time as tragedy, the second time as farce. And I think we might be seeing a bit of that now, but it's going to be a good one, because in 2017, when Donald Trump ascended to the presidency, the world was new to all of us in so many ways. And one of the things that was new was the fact that all of a sudden, something on the order of 35 Republican representatives in Congress declared, I'm out. Bye. All at once, almost. My own congressman, Ted Poe, member of the Freedom Caucus, seemed like a really great guy, very, very quietly retired from public life. He was a member of the Freedom Caucus. And he was replaced, of course, by Dan Crenshaw, whom we know so delightfully well. I think something like that's going to happen in Trump's first year in his second official term. I think an enormous number of members of the House of Representatives are going to be disappearing for some reason that I don't know yet. It just seems thematic, except it's going to be farce this time. It was somber the last time. This time they're going to go out, and I don't know if they're going to be Republican or Democrat, one way or the other. They're getting out of there. Trump is giving us every indication that he doesn't give a rat's ass about his House majority, which means he thinks he has it in the bag. It's kind of like that moment.
Or doesn't need it.
Or doesn't need it, or has it already. I mean, how on earth would he not need that, or at least not want to keep that? It's not like there aren't 15 dozen people that he could appoint instead of Elise Stefanik. She's just a politician, a good one, has at points demonstrated that she's actually pretty loyal to Donald Trump despite political differences with him. But I don't see any reason why he would nominate her out of his majority unless he had some big secret, which is a secret that I think he has already told us he has at his own rally when he was talking to Mike Johnson.
Yeah.
And so far, Mike Johnson has indicated he's a pretty darn loyal Trumper. And so this is all getting very exciting. He knows something we don't. I don't know what it is. He knows something that you and I both don't know.
Sure.
We walked into this election saying, okay, those conditions that allowed for everything to get stolen, those haven't changed.
Right.
So I don't know what he's up to, but I'm sitting here worrying myself into a sickbed over it. And then miraculously, Donald Trump wins. My sickness lifts from me, like clouds with the sun popping out. And then we have to watch the Democrats stealing every other election. I don't understand what's going on there. Chris, do you have any thoughts as we've watched it unfold?
Well, I think that, I start all of this stuff with the understanding that our elections are not legitimate.
Yes.
And therefore the people sitting in these offices are similarly illegitimate, and take it from there. I don't know that there's any sort of legislation that Donald Trump actually needs to pass. What do we need to legislate? The the mandate that Donald Trump has is to take apart this corrupt and illegitimate government. And I think that the people are largely behind that and might not express it in those terms and may not have thought about it in those terms, but they don't like the spending. They don't like the wars. They don't like the social policies. They don't want the agencies. It's clear that people are loving the Elon Musk Doge, Vivek Ramaswamy Doge narrative. Whether or not that's a real thing that's going to happen, it doesn't seem that it doesn't seem like there's any resistance to it as part of that public mandate. So if the mandate is to take that government apart, you don't really need to be passing legislation to do that. The Supreme Court's already supported big chunks of taking that government apart. Trump is the plenary authority of the executive branch as president. If they want to fight that battle in the courts, by all means, go ahead and do it. But if he essentially just removes the power from these agencies or removes these agencies, there's not going to be an argument that's going to preserve them, whether in the courts or in the public or wherever else. And so at that point, like, what do we need the Congress and the Senate to actually do? If he's already said he doesn't care about the Senate, he's already made clear he doesn't care about the Senate confirmation processes and might have to go around them and use recess appointments or whatever. I don't know. I don't see a need for a Congress or a Senate right now. And I'm not suggesting an overthrow of the constitutional order. I'm suggesting to whatever extent they're in there, they are unnecessary with the way it seems like Trump is planning on approaching this term. Hello, John.
Sorry, I'm so sorry I'm late.
You don't have to be sorry. We were just having a little fun.
Yeah, I was listening while I was putting my kids to sleep. So for those wondering, I took my kids to their first ever college football game. They loved it, went nuts. I thought I'd be home like 2 hours ago. Did not go that way. I saw like a domestic violence situation at a restaurant on the way out of town. It was crazy.
That's amazing. Dude, what town did you have to go to for your college football game?
It was in Fargo. But like we were at the restaurant and this dude comes in and just like grabs this girl and starts like dragging her out. And she's like screaming, help me, help me. And I like have my kids and my gun and I'm like, what do I do? It was crazy. But
I mean, I don't even laugh. That's insane.
Yeah, it was nuts.
You didn't draw, did you?
No, I kept it like under my sweatshirt.
Okay.
And I just like took them around the corner until the guy ran. Somebody chased after him. The police came. We just got our food and left. So
yeah,
it was a wild situation. But anyway, what you guys were talking about, I do want to talk about this a little bit, the pardons. And so sorry for interrupting like I did, but about the pardons, I think they're going to happen. I think it's always meant to be this way. And we talked about this on Wednesday. I want to get your thoughts. There's one of the Q drops or whatever that talks about, what is it? Oh, these people won't be able to walk down the streets or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If these people are punished anyway, go to jail, that would mean like they literally wouldn't be able to walk down the streets. But the way it's implied in the drops, from what I've seen, it's like they won't be able to because everybody's gonna be pissed at them. Meaning we're gonna see all their crimes exposed, but for some reason they won't be in jail for them. Meaning the pardon fits that, right?
Yeah, a blanket pardon would fit that, but that would be absolutely infuriating. You know, right. Adam Schiff tried to overthrow the United States government, but he's also, I think he's guilty of a lot of crimes against children, and the states can prosecute him for that. Of course, I think it's from the Standard Hotel, which I'm sure was in California, and California is very pro-pedophile. So I'm not 100% sure how that would work that out either. But a president can't pardon people for state crimes. So it's not like a blanket get out of jail free card, given the fact that these people just commit crimes before they get up, before they have breakfast in the morning.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Plus, like, I don't think Biden's legitimate anyway, but I think if he went through with the whole narrative of the election, he's probably going to go through with the whole narrative of him allowing these pardons to go through and be, I don't know, delegitimized another way. But Chris?
Despite the illegitimacy of Joe Biden and then the illegitimacy of his pardons, most people don't recognize Joe Biden's illegitimacy and wouldn't understand the illegitimacy of those pardons. And it would then provide kind of an excuse structure, narratively speaking, for us to see none of them actually held accountable. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. I definitely want to see it happen. Don't get me wrong. I just wonder if afterward, the fact that it doesn't actually mean anything, I don't know if that's gonna play in people's perception. And I'm maybe more paranoid than a lot of the people in the community about what else could be going on. Like, I give Trump the benefit of the doubt, but I don't give pretty much anybody else the benefit of the doubt here. And a lot of the people stomping their feet and demanding accountability might be doing so now for show to seem like they were on the right side of things, and then might just let that go like most of them did with election fraud.
That's a good point. I don't know, man.
I've got a pardon relevant clip from Fox News with Jesse Waters interviewing Alina Habba about the pardons. Let's see. This is 42 seconds. Let's see what she has to say.
You heard Binder say that Joe Biden, was he wrestling with this pardon? Do you believe there was a lot of wrestling with the idea of pardoning your son?
No, and I guarantee you, and you can quote me on this, I'll come on your show when it happens. He's going to pardon himself. He's going to pardon his family, Shifty Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, and anybody else who had their hands in the cookie jar. I do not doubt it. So all we're hearing is leaks of something we already knew. They lied to us during the election. The American people saw through it. And now here we are. Pardon after pardon will be handed out. And I assure you of that. Listen, KJP's admitting it. More are to come, but it's going to be rocking the nation when we see who it is that he pardons.
That's a good clip. I mean, if you guys were in the position where you could pardon your son, if you had sons, would you do it?
Yeah, I would.
I feel like I would too.
So do you think? I don't care if he pardons his son, dude. It doesn't bother me one bit. Fine, pardon him. I think there's an enormously good chance that Hunter Biden needs to be completely pardoned so that he can just testify about all of his crimes and who participated in them with him. He's just a low-level bag man. His dad is the big guy, and I want to know who his dad is working for.
Right.
I don't think the two crimes that Hunter's convicted for should even be crimes, so I didn't care about that at all.
Yeah, also true. Who gives a rat's? And what is it? A freaking illegitimate gun charge, and then something about not
paying taxes,
paying the pedophiles to pedophile or something like that.
Yeah,
so
that's a
I'm
good
not
point
seeing any
too.
problem there at all.
Yeah. And if he's gone state's evidence or is some kind of confidential informant, which he might be from the beginning, by the way. And if that's true for 10 years, you might as well at least keep your mind open to the possibility. And I know that you guys do, and most of our audience does, but I'm just saying, so it's on the record that, that Joe Biden might be in the same situation. And so to then get convicted of these two like non-crimes, that's what causes Joe Biden to put out the illegitimate president to put out this fake pardon. And that just covers Hunter from ever having to be, tried for any of this stuff. He can go on the record and testify. Makes sense to me. I don't know.
It's all very important. And,
right, go ahead.
They've been setting us up for some enormous reveal to take place sometime around the beginning of Donald Trump's second official term. We now have Hunter Biden in a position to testify all that he wants. And the people who have been committing this crime spree are running scared. I mean, did you see Schiff during that clip? This is not a guy who is confident in his position. He seems almost terrified.
I wonder how many sitting Congress people that lawyer advised to go overseas. Because wasn't there a lawyer that was like 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Mark
Zaid or Zaid or something. I don't know how you say his last name.
I say Zaid, but it could be Zaid.
Yeah. Do we know if because I think some of them were news people, some of them were people within the Department of Justice, and then I don't know if there are any sitting Congress people, but I wonder if there are any.
Getting a list. Did you see Keith Olbermann's tweet last week about this is after the Hunter Biden pardon? Then Keith Olbermann puts up a post about how there should be 10 million pardons. Like everybody who could possibly be targeted for the Revenge and Retribution tour should get a pardon as part of a blanket pardon. And gosh, man, I would love to get a database of 10 million names that we can pour over. It could be that big.
What's the point of a pardon if everybody gets a pardon?
It's a beautiful thing to have them show themselves that effectively, because we really are probably only talking about something like probably maybe 200,000 or 300,000 people who need to go to prison. And that's a lot of friggin' people, but it's also the population of Waco, Texas. So it's not that big of a deal. If we can get these people out of power, that will definitely clean up our streets and clean up our society in general. I saw a clip from Senator Chris Murphy. And if I'm not mistaken, it's 1 minute, 20 seconds, John. I posted it in our private group, but it's, in my opinion, pretty interesting.
Pull it up, bro.
I'm pull it up. All right, one sec. There it is. And I'll play the thing. It is definitely worth checking out. This is somebody taking a video of their television, so I apologize for the low quality.
Legislation that you anticipate being able to work with Republicans on over the next 2 to 4 years?
Well, that's all dependent on the sort of upfront question of whether we have a democracy 6 months from now. I can't work across the aisle if Democrats are being thrown in jail, if our independent media is being intimidated into submission. So I'm a little bit more red alert than some of my other colleagues are when it comes to his nominee to be Attorney General, Kash Patel, heading to the FBI. I think Donald Trump is getting ready to try to bludgeon his political opposition into submission, to convince companies like Comcast to sell off their assets that might dare question him, to get the billionaires that own media platforms to suppress dissent. So I will be at the table, as I always have been, to try to do bipartisan deals. But you can't do that if we don't have a democracy. And I just don't accept that we're going to be under normal political circumstances. The first task in January, February, March may be making sure that we have a free and open democracy for the next 4 years.
That is interesting. Especially, there's an article in Axios, and I think you guys briefly touched on this.
Also, but real quick, was somebody like pleasuring himself to that video in the background? Did you hear the breathing in the background? Anyway, that I didn't hear that the first time I heard it, but I totally sympathize with the person if he was doing what he sounded like he was doing. I'm sorry, John. Please continue.
That's amazing. You guys briefly touched on this, but the slim majority we have in the House now, like it's literally, I think if we get one person that crosses the aisle, then it's a stalemate. Because with this is an Axios, and right now, based on Matt Gaetz not coming back and all the people he's pulled, they have a 217 to 215 majority for a few months.
Okay. Yeah.
It's one person.
Yeah. One schmuck can bring everything to a halt.
Yep.
I love it.
So not only could we see that, but also in the Senate, they're basically the gay HR department that is not approving any of Trump's picks.
The gay HR department.
It is. It's the gay HR department, and that we went through this entire. We went through this entire thing in 2017. I remember I was a big Mike Cernovich fan in 2017, and I don't want to throw shade at Mike Cernovich. He does.
Who?
Mike Cernovich. He
you.
does some great stuff. But one of the things he pointed out back in 2017 was, holy crap, there are these bureaucrats who, for some reason or another, get a fucking veto over the president's picks. And Donald Trump acquiesced to that shit, we are told, back in 2017. And so now we hear Donald Trump is saying, look, I'll do my own background checks. You people are crooks, which I love.
He agreed, though, now to do FBI background checks.
Wow. Fuck my life.
Man, speaking of the FBI, I don't know if you guys talked about this the other night, John, but in Trump's post announcing that Kash would be nominated as the new FBI director, he mentioned that Cash had tried 60 cases and prosecuted 60 cases with jury trials. Now, I can't substantiate that, and the news tries very hard to say that that is not substantiated. And in fact, his colleagues declared that he actually isn't even good at his job or something. That's like what the AI feeds you back if you ask about these 60 jury trials. And so I'm trying to figure out how he could have tried 60 jury trials and no one knows about it.
Well, wasn't he an attorney prior to? Well, actually, that might have been the stuff that he was doing with Jay. Is it JSOC? JSOC. Because he was an attorney that had access to JSOC.
Yes, I mean, whatever it is, if there are 60 jury trials in maybe a military setting or whatever,
yeah, I get
there
what you're
doesn't seem
saying.
to be a record of them.
Patrick, gonna read this?
Yeah. So this is about Kash Patel.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pull these up while we're.
The article is, who is Kash Patel? In 2014, Patel was hired as a trial attorney in the United States Department of Justice National Security Division, where he simultaneously served as a legal liaison to the Joint Special Operations Command, JSOC. In 2017, Patel was appointed senior counsel on counterterrorism at the House Intelligence Committee. So, he's in the DOJ under Obama, and he's a patriot, and he survived somehow. So we've got ourselves an operator and a survivor, and a dude who has obviously earned a reputation among Trump's inner circle. Early on, he was already the golden boy who's going to help Trump get the job done.
And a legal liaison to JSOC, that's special operations. That's notable.
It's Ezra.
It's Ezra. That's Chris Miller. That's like all those people. But I'm trying to see if I can find anything about those being a trial attorney. Because you're right. Like nobody ever talks about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those Trump statements where he, you can read right past it and just be like, oh, that's interesting. But that's a pretty particular claim. And jury trials specifically.
Wouldn't that stuff be on Pacer? I think there'd be records of that on Pacer.
Is that only civil court though?
Yeah, that's true.
You're going to be trying to find cases that Kash Patel tried.
Yeah, where he was an attorney. So I'll show you just on Pacer. Did I spell that right? Kash Patel, attorney. Is his middle name Pramod?
Yeah.
First of all, Cash App is not a particularly uncommon name. Okay, there's tons of them.
This is him though. His middle name is.
Okay.
Okay. So is that the
not a single one of those names is all that uncommon among Indians?
But to have all of these and be the attorney.
It sounds good to me, but you'd be surprised. There's an absolute buttload of Indians with those names.
He graduated in 2002. Man,
that sounds right.
And he went to he completed his Juris Doctor at Pace University in New York. He obtained a certificate in international law from London.
Let's just assume that this is the same dude.
It has to be
pretty darn close. And you got the middle name is correct too, yeah?
Yeah, let me see if I can date filed. Yeah, it might be worthwhile to go through some of these sometime.
Because, it would be interesting to find out, how did this Indian guy become part of the Patriot inner circle? What is so special about him? It's not just a desire to do justice. He has abilities that others lack. And some of that might be evident in his trial career.
It would definitely be worth worthwhile going through these, especially some of his like most recent ones. Like, because one of these had to have gotten him like on the radar, right?
So most of them are at the Florida Southern District Court.
Yeah, it does appear that way. Like all of them. Yeah. That's also notable.
Kashyap Pramod Vinod Patel. He's a
I
millennial.
wonder who hired him at the National Security Division. It's probably impossible to figure that out.
Well, I mean, hang on, you could figure that out.
You can ask ChatGPT.
That's what I'm doing.
Sorry, guys, for the little live dig here. Did you guys do
Sorry about that. Dead air, dead air.
Did you guys do the sponsors, by the way?
We did one sponsor. We
Do we have
have Safe Streets next.
Okay. It would have been John Carlin who hired him.
Oh my God, really? There it is. Assistant Attorney General John P. Carlin, who was one of the very first people to get shit canned at the beginning of Spygate. All right. In 2014, Kash Patel was hired as a trial attorney in the National Security Division of the U.S. Department of Justice. During his tenure, he also served as a legal liaison to the Joint Special Operations Command. Specific details about who directly hired him are not publicly available. At that time, the National Security Division was led by Assistant Attorney General John P. Carlin, who served from April 2014 to October 2016. The Attorney General was Eric Holder, serving up until April 2015, succeeded by Loretta Lynch. While the exact individual responsible for Patel's hiring isn't specified, it would have been under the purview of the leadership within the DOJ's National Security Division during that period. Yeah, I remember John Carlin. So one of the first things that I ever did when I woke up was started listening to Bongino. After I got over my Alex Jones thing and then my Ben Shapiro thing, Bongino was the guy. Bongino and Brian Cates and Thomas Wichter and all those guys. But Bongino was great. He did a great job with Spygate. And John P. Carlin was one of those names to remember in all of that. He was above all these people, and he was gone at the very beginning. He resigned.
I don't know. That's an interesting post, though. You're right, Chris, and statement from Trump about the trial attorney experience, especially like for him to mention that, like in the lead up of him going to be the FBI director, where we're probably going to see a whole bunch of awesome trials, I'd hope, based on what he does. We played a whole bunch of clips from Kash Patel. Like, I'm so pumped for this guy to be the director. Like, just based on disclosure stuff. Did you guys see that Glenn Beck interview where he was talking about releasing the 9/11 files and everything and the JFK files?
Yeah.
You guys saw those?
Awesome. I did not, but that's awesome.
Let me find that. It's
that
worth
was
it.
friggin' beautiful. I have really started to warm back up to old Glenn Beck.
Yeah, I mean, it was an older clip, but this is it, I think.
Is it his ascot, Patrick, that you like so much?
There's no question that you ingratiate yourself to me if you wear an ascot. I should be wearing an ascot.
I would love to see that.
It's going to happen.
Just a psychop.
It's that interview that he says this.
I never believed that the CIA killed Kennedy.
No. You're talking to a guy that's read the entire JFK file.
You've seen all the secret stuff?
I've seen all of that, and I've seen the 7 pages of the 9/11 report. I've seen it all.
You don't say that to people that you can't tell what you saw. Should the Kennedy stuff be released?
Yes.
Is there anything there that is like, is anybody alive?
The problem is the things that we can't release have nothing to do with the questions you guys are asking. That's about as far as I can go on it. But like the answers you guys want, pretty much have them. There's very minimal stuff that can't be seen for things that you wouldn't even think are related to that.
Why can't we release them?
And you're thinking temporally, like, did it stop back then? right? You know, the way intelligence works is you're always developing it. Where did I get that? Where did that go? Oh, hey, I found that guy 5 years ago. Let's go talk to him. Where does that get us? You know, it's a little bit bigger of a jigsaw puzzle. I mean, it's the same. Look, so the 7 pages of the 9/11 report, yes, overnight that needs to come out. I'm telling you, that's got to go. And there will be some people that are pissed off.
That's really interesting. How did he get access to that type of information, and in what context would someone in Cash's position get that sort of information?
It's notable he was Trump's NARA advisor or whatever. Like Trump named him, appointed him to be his liaison to NARA, and he was the one working on that stuff. So I wonder if he had any connection through there. But who knows? Like this guy's been,
or through those cases he would have been involved with.
That's a good point too. Yes. Now I'm gonna have to go digging through all those things at some point.
It's gonna be amazing, dude. There might even be a new article coming out of it.
It could be. I'll dig through it. I'll check it out. Not right now, but eventually. Did you guys see? I just saw this. What General Flynn posted?
Yeah.
He retweeted Abby about the podcast presidency must happen.
Yeah, put it up.
I didn't see that. I didn't know Abby got retweeted by Flynn.
Here, check this out. Here's what Abby said.
Who here thinks that Badlands Media should have a press pass for the White House press briefings?
And then he said, and notice she didn't tag him or anything.
She didn't tag. The podcast presidency must happen. Get rid of the entire mainstream lying fake news media press corps, or put them all in the back row, and let's get some serious citizen journalists inside the cycle of truth the American people demand.
That's awesome.
Damn. I want to know how that's badass, Abby.
Hell yeah.
You know what? I think he probably follows her.
Probably. Shoot, Patrick, did you pull the rants up, by the way?
No.
I have the Rumble screen up, so they've been popping up since the beginning.
I've had the Rumble screen up as well, and I can clear out the rants that have come in so far, and then we can just start from there because there's only a few. So check this out. Escape the Matrix 91, $10. John, did you clip Liberty Den when they were talking about Patrick's colon cleanses? Laughy emoji.
What?
Robert L, $20. Does treason override pardons? Asking for a friend, sincerely, Adam Schiff. I don't think so. And Data 12, $1. A pardon will allow Hunter to not recall. It is a gift. It's a gift to keep quiet. Hunter just got paid again. Thank you very much for that as well. And let's see. Let's keep on moving. And we have Keith O'Higgins, $1. Trump's nominations need to be more than revenge. They need to be about redemption and clear the names and reputations of people like Carter Page and George Papadopoulos. Remind everyone of intel treason. Thank you. Counterinsurgent, $10. Love live digs. I do too. They're really great because, well, unless I'm doing it, in which case it's awful. And then counterinsurgent, $10. Love live digs. I think you did that twice, so thank you. And that's all we've got. So after that, I can pull up the rest of them.
Okay, I got them pulled up now too. How about we do this real quick because I got to gather my thoughts a little bit and some of the links I had pulled while I was driving. And so can we do our next sponsor, Patrick, and then we can get into.
You bet we can.
To do some of this next stuff here.
You bet. One moment, I'll pull it right up. Please check out a message from our wonderful sponsor, Safe Streets.
Now's the perfect time to secure your home and your loved ones. Get a free ADT Smart Home Security System valued at $850 from ADT authorized provider, Safe Streets, plus a Google Nest doorbell camera at no cost and a $100 Visa gift card from Safe Streets, the most trusted name in home security with more than 106,000 4.9-star Trust Pilot reviews. Visit getsafestreets.com/Badlands or call 925-529-6541. That's 925-529-6541 to speak to a representative today. $99 customer installation charge and purchase of new monitoring service required. Early termination fees apply.
Don't forget badlandsmedia.tv/getsafestreets.
And there's a bunch of like foreign shit going on right now too. But let's start with the let's start with the handshake. Let me get that. Do you have a link pulled up, Chris?
Yeah. So this Trump actually posted this on Truth Social earlier today, this morning, in fact. Here that comes. So this is the first one. Let's do this and then we'll go back to the other one.
Okay. Can you pause it quick? This is Trump arriving in. He's going to the Notre Dame reopening thing or something, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's arriving as king of the world
in a Chevy.
What the hell?
He's just jerking Macron around.
He's a little boy.
I thought they were going to kiss at first.
And
he's playfully bullying him.
And and Macron just keeps trying to like do various physical things that make it seem like he's got the upper hand or is the dominant one in some way. He just grabs his hand and tries to keep him there. Look at that.
Let me go, please.
Don't you ever grab my hand again.
It's so embarrassing. So that's just one of them. Then great honor, thank you. And then here's the second one. Again, both of these posted by Trump.
President, I just say it's a great honor for French people to welcome you 5 years later. And you were at that time present, for the first time. And I remember the solidarity and your immediate reaction. So, welcome back again.
Thank you
We
very
are
much.
very happy to have you here.
Thank you very much. Very great honor. And we had a great relationship, as everyone knows. We accomplished a lot together. And the people of France are spectacular. I guess it's one of our largest groups in the United States, French people. And we respect them and we love them. Very talented people. Extremely energetic people, as you know very well.
Yeah.
And it's an honor to be here. We had a good time together, and we had a lot of success, really great success working together on defense and offense too. And it certainly seems like the world is going a little crazy right now, and we'll be talking about that. Thank you very much for being here.
Merci beaucoup.
I had to get a little French language in there so he could not be totally dominated.
Is French like one of the largest populations in America? Is that true?
French is one of the most widely spoken languages in the world.
Is it? Okay.
Oh,
Well,
for sure. Look at Africa. It's like half the countries there speak French as their language. It might not be half, but it's a lot.
interesting. Well, but then while he was there, he met with Zelensky as well.
Mm-hmm.
Where's that? I got that story up here somewhere. Just gotta find it. Maybe I don't have it pulled up. Hold for processing. Oh, yeah, this one.
Trump discusses war in Ukraine with Zelensky and Macron in Paris.
By the way, I have some video of that, a different angle on some of the handshakes, and then the entrance of Zelensky. And you can see a much more respectful body language interchange between Zelensky and Trump than
Let's see it.
Macron and Trump. Yeah, here you go.
You know the place? You remember?
I remember.
What do you want to drink?
Anything you have, Coke is fine.
Coke? Coke or true one?
Regular is fine.
Welcome back again.
Thank you.
We are very happy to have you here.
Thank you very much. Very great honor. Very happy to see you. Nice to see you. How are you? Very happy to see you.
Wow.
I like how Macron wore his, Zelensky wore his good sweatsuit for the reopening of Notre Dame Cathedral.
Yeah, somebody's got to come up with an answer. What kind of embarrassing disaster is it that this guy's got to wear fucking sweats everywhere he goes? What are you doing, man? You're representing your country. Is your country a bunch of freaking idiots?
They're at war. They're at war.
God. So disgusting. If I travel somewhere for 2 days, I pack a bunch of nice clothes. If I'm going to a GART, I want to represent Badlands. This guy's supposed to represent Ukraine. He dresses like a friggin' slob everywhere he goes.
Yeah. My kids go to Catholic school system and they are required to wear like uniforms.
Just wear a tie, man. Wear a nice shirt.
Let's just read through like a couple paragraphs of this.
From Axios. President-elect Trump held a trilateral meeting on Saturday in Paris with French President Emmanuel Macron and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and discussed the war in Ukraine and ways to end it. Why it matters. This is the first time Trump has met with Zelensky since the president-elect's victory in the election. The meeting took place as Trump is getting ready to assume office in 6 weeks and start a diplomatic process to end the war between Russia and Ukraine. Driving the news. Trump announced last week that he is appointing retired General Keith Kellogg as his envoy for Ukraine and Russia diplomacy. Zelensky's chief of staff, Andriy Yermak, visited Washington earlier this week and met with Kellogg.
That is notable. Kellogg, of course. Again, this took place on Saturday, and there was allegedly a phone call between Trump and Putin not to escalate the war, and this took place on Thursday. So I want to read a little bit of this as well.
Trump warns Putin in call not to intensify war in Ukraine. President-elect Trump spoke with Russian leader Vladimir Putin on Thursday and warned him not to escalate the fighting in Ukraine, according to a source briefed on the call. Why it matters. Trump has said publicly that he's going to end the war in Ukraine and use his personal relationship with Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to get a peace deal. Driving the news, the source said Trump's message to Putin was roughly, don't escalate because I have weapons too. While the call wasn't made public by either Trump or Putin, the president-elect notified Zelensky that it had taken place. The Washington Post first reported about the call and Trump's message to Putin. What this?
We can stop there, but this is interesting because according to Tucker Carlson, he did that interview with what's his name now? I can't even think of it.
Sergei Lavrov.
Yeah, Lavrov. He did, and Lavrov said that the United States completely cut ties, like no communications. Blinken doesn't have any communication with Russia at all, but Trump is speaking with Russia. We know Elon Musk has been speaking with Putin, and like what is going? Why is that happening? But the current sitting administration has cut off ties for 2 years. It's insane.
That Lavrov interview is wonderful, by the way. His answer to the sanctions question was hysterical. That section that you just brought up was great. He blew up regime false flags, like the whole Bucha massacre thing that we were supposed to understand to be the Russians as Nazis in Ukraine, the Alexei Navalny and Sergei Skripal poisonings, all of it. He was just like, all that's bullshit. It was amazing. I love that interview.
I haven't actually even watched it. I just saw a couple clips.
Oh, it's so good. Well, I have some of them marked, and you know, we can finish discussing this, and I'll queue them up.
Yeah, well, my main point of wanting to bring this up is it's just interesting with when you think of devolution and whatnot, and kind of Trump being there behind the scenes in some fashion the whole time. I think this really highlights that when Russia is telling you that the current administration has completely cut ties off for years, but we know for a fact that Trump just spoke with them already, and it's interesting. Elon Musk is speaking with Putin routinely. And Chris, didn't you send something over about how they're basically saying that Elon Musk is like Trump's vice president or something?
It's so crazy, man. The number of these little subtle hints. I mean, I guess if you take it that way, some people think that everything is a euphemism for something else, and they will always bias toward the most normie take possible. I mean, Trump posted earlier tonight an article from American thinker that talks about two governments and two separate systems of law that we have in this country. And it's like, eventually you got to at least consider that what he's saying is true by the words he's saying it.
I think that was this article. Yeah, this is worth reading a little bit of too. But yeah, I do want to come back to some of the Lavrov interview.
Yeah.
Some of the clips.
This is from November 18th, 2024 at American Thinker.
But Trump just reposted it, and he
nice.
reposted it. It was December 7th at 2:30 my time.
By Matthew G. Anderson, the Trump mandate is to make America great again. That will include making her legal system great again. But there's a problem. The Democrat Party is committed to corrupting that legal system to block and subvert the will of the American people and their chosen government. That has a new form. The DNC has established and financed its Democracy Forward program, announced in the New York Times. Democrats draw up an entirely new anti-Trump battle plan. Their fantasy appears to be a subversive second government. This DNC program has hired 800 lawyers, with more to come, creating a lawfare army and taking this operation from the White House to DNC-controlled governorships. The same DNC administration seeks to continue its control by simply decamping from the White House and setting up its counterculture operations through key state governor administrations that it currently controls, including New York, Illinois, and California. This may create the opportunity for the new administration and Congress to write a new protective legal code that complements the larger common law system and supports its integrity. This could make American law great again.
Interesting, but aren't they saying in the same article that the Democrats are like they're basically trying to like lock up the blue states, like make those as lawless as they can and keep those as blue as they can? And then it's also interesting. Did you guys see the other day Seth Keshel posted that Arizona wants to do the whole with the election system, they want to make it so that whoever wins the popular vote in the country gets the electoral college votes from that state, regardless of how that state actually votes.
Yeah. It doesn't make a difference because don't they also require that the number of electoral votes as part of that compact must be 270 or greater?
I don't know.
Well,
it's such a silly little thing.
Yes, that's before that thing activates, but who knows, man? They're clearly doing it for a reason. There's no such thing as the national popular vote. Also, our elections aren't real. Also, the election system cannot produce an accurate, reliable, certifiable, verifiable vote total. So right now, all that stuff is moot and should be only considered on that kind of narrative layer, and then how it allows them to pull tricks.
It's almost up to 75 million.
Wow. So yeah, we're under 2.3 million now.
Insane.
It's amazing. Where did the landslide go? We're not even going to have a majority in the House anymore. 312 to 226 is not a landslide, and 2.5 million votes in a popular vote is not a landslide. Now, I mean, all these election results are fake, but we could have just realized that from the beginning.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. But yeah, I want to go back to the Lavrov stuff because I didn't get a chance to listen to it, and I think it would be interesting to play some of those clips if you got them.
All right.
Timestamped.
All right. Yeah. Let's start. Oh yeah.
Nice.
Well, at least I have things nicely queued up. I didn't get around to making clips, so this is the next best alternative.
I think Russia is going to be the final boogeyman. Like they're going to try to false flag it before leaving, and I don't know where it goes from there. Maybe wartime powers to do some bullshit, but I think they're the final boss.
Maybe. I mean, it would certainly make sense in story terms.
Yeah.
We've all been raised to believe that Russia was the great enemy. And in assuming that the story we've been given about Russia our entire lives is false in a particular way, which suggests like an inversion of that, then Russia's actually us, like what we were told we were.
Mm-hmm.
This is so this one I thought was amazing because Tucker asks about sanctions and how people in Russia would respond to the removal of all these sanctions. But you got to remember while listening to this answer that Russia is already away from the SWIFT system. And that's what all this stuff is ultimately about. It's whether or not they're in the regime fiat currency system. And so you got to take into account that they're already out. They've already suffered whatever damage could be caused, and they've rebounded even stronger. Here we go.
I would say probably many people in Russia would like to make it a condition, but the more we live under sanctions, the more we understand that it is better to rely on yourself and to develop mechanisms, to develop platforms for cooperation with normal countries who are not unfriendly to you, and don't mix economic interest and policies, and especially politics. And we learned a lot after the sanctions started. Sanctions started under Obama. They continued in a very big way under the first term of Trump. And these sanctions under the Biden administration are absolutely unprecedented. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, you know. And
well, but also
they would be never kill us, so they are making us stronger.
And driving Russia east. And so the vision that I think sane policymakers.
Man, I think that statement is amazing. What doesn't kill you only makes us stronger, and they can't kill us, so they're only making us stronger.
That is fascinating. Lavrov is their, what is it, Minister of Foreign Affairs?
He's their foreign minister, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's like, I guess that would be like the equivalent of a Secretary of State.
Yeah.
Chief diplomat.
That is fascinating. Okay.
Well, really, think about what real power the United States wields. It's the power of its financial system, its ability to cut off trade routes because the United States owns the soft power platforms that allow trade among nations. It's kind of like the world diplomatic equivalent of kicking you off of Facebook. And so Russia said, okay, so we got this 2014 Maidan coup where these absolute lunatics decided to freaking overthrow the government of Ukraine using Soros tactics. We're going to make ourselves sanction proof, and it's going to take us a few years, and it's going to hurt, and then we're going to fucking invade Ukraine. I think that's what went down.
It is interesting too that, you know, that soft power projection that we use, it's like at the weakest point it's ever been with BRICS. Like what Trump walking away basically ballooned BRICS into a powerhouse. And if you think Devo's in place, like that's an interesting dynamic to be taking place.
And if Donald Trump is president while BRICS is blowing up, it makes him look weak.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out your timestamps here because 101:33.
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
this is the one where he talks about Blinken and how the adults who got back in the room were actually childish.
There are messages. They know our position. We are not playing double game. What Putin announced is the goal of our operation. It's fair. It's fully in line with the United Nations Charter. First of all, the rights, language rights, minority rights, national minority rights, religious rights, and it's fully in line with OSCE principle. There is an organization for security and cooperation in Europe which is still alive. And the summit of this organization, well, several summits of this organization clearly stated that security must be indivisible, that nobody should expand his security at the expense of security of others, and that, most important, no organization in Euro-Atlantic space shall claim dominance. This was last time it was confirmed by OSCE 2010. And NATO was doing exactly the opposite.
Yes.
So we have legitimacy, you know, in our position. No NATO on our doorsteps because OSCE, you know, agreed that this should not be the case if it hurts us. And please restore the rights of Russians.
Who do you think has been making foreign policy decisions in the United States? This is a question in the United States. Who is making these decisions?
I wouldn't guess. I haven't seen Tony Blinken for years. Two years ago, I think, at the G20 summit, was it in Rome or somewhere? In the margins, He
hasn't seen him in 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what's weird? I think, John, maybe you and I have different videos pulled up here. Is yours the one from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs?
Mine's the one. It's the link you sent in the chat.
Oh, huh. Because this right where he just came in is where mine starts. Because he talks about never mind. We can just continue. I think maybe it's right. No. Go ahead.
His assistant, I was representing Putin, and his assistant came up to me during a meeting and said that Tony wants to talk just for 10 minutes. I left the room, we shook hands, and he said something about the need to de-escalate and so on and so forth. I hope he is not going to be angry with me since I am disclosing this. But we were meeting in front of many people present in the room. And I said, we don't want to escalate. You want to inflict strategic defeat upon Russia. He said, no. It is not strategic defeat globally. It is only in Ukraine.
You've not spoken to him since?
No.
Have you spoken to any officials in the Biden administration since then?
I don't want to ruin their career.
But have you had meaningful conversations?
Career?
No. Not at all. No, when I met in international events, one or another person whom I know, an American, I mean.
Yeah.
Some of them say hello, some of them exchange few words, but I never impose myself because
but nothing meaningful behind the scenes.
It's becoming contagious, you know, when they see when somebody sees an American talking to me or a European talking to me. Europeans are running away when they see me. But during the last G20 meeting, it was ridiculous. Grown-up people, mature people, they behave like kids, so childish. Unbelievable.
So you said that when in 2016 in December, the final.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how anybody believes that that Joe Biden was really president. Like
you can't.
The most powerful country in the world, and we're supposed to be maybe going to war with them, and their foreign ministry doesn't talk to anyone in the U.S. and they act like they're like bullying Russia in junior high whenever they're at international events.
You remember when the Ukraine war started, there was just blanket bigotry against Russia. Like ballerinas were kicked out, and musicians who happened to have names like Romanov were just said, no, you can't play the cello here, freaking Galupsi eater.
They in tennis and in the Olympics, was Russia just barred from the Olympics? They might have been totally barred, but either way, in professional tennis, they would just take Russia's name out of the country.
That's right.
Like the player would be, you know, they would denote the country of the player. And if it was Russia, they would just leave it blank.
Here, and take this for what it's worth. Not sure if it's true because it's Bob Woodward, but that's notable. Trump had as many as 7 private calls with Putin since leaving office.
Wow. Bob Woodward is working for Donald Trump.
Man, you know, we kind of already moved on from the Notre Dame thing this morning, but Jill Biden and Ashley Biden were like seated 2 seats away, and then Manny Mac's husband was between them, and Manny was on the other side. It was crazy.
You have a picture of that?
I'll find it somewhere. There have been all these memes about how Jill Biden and Ashley Biden were like looking like they just love Trump.
Yeah, I've been unplugged all day today, so I haven't seen any of this.
On the Liberty Den last night, I opined that perhaps Melania has been dressing Jill Biden for these past 4 years, and it would account for why she appears to be going through a lengthy years-long humiliation ritual.
Yeah, so there's that. And then we also have this right here. Oh, there you go.
This one?
Is that Scavino's post?
No, this is Nick Sordor, who probably stole it from Scavino.
Here's
What
Scavino.
is going on? Why is she looking at him like that?
And you can see Ashley's eyes and face smiling behind her.
I don't know what to say about any of this.
It's all
Too
very
weird.
strange.
Okay, well, maybe, just
Memes.
maybe, they're actors wearing masks and they feel like the game is almost up. They don't have to stay in character.
Hopefully that's it.
A fragrance your enemies can't resist.
That's
Trump
funny.
does have a fragrance, you know.
Yeah,
Is it called fight, fight, fight?
probably.
Oh, I got to find a way to imitate it.
You're not supposed to say that out loud.
Oh, shit. All right. Anyway.
This is crazy. What? Okay, so Joe Biden's obviously not there.
Yeah, Joe Biden's still in Angola, I think. He
Which
said
is
he was
wild.
never leaving. Did you see that video?
Never leaving Angola? No, I haven't seen that either.
Oh man.
Let me see if I can find it.
I can grab it really quick, I think. Maybe not. Shit.
I can find it here.
I made a meme and everything.
When Donald Trump left office, the first thing that seemed to happen was that Kash Patel seemed to be in a celebratory mood. Like he was just taking a breather, that it was intermission, and that he could actually be happy for a little while. It was when he did the I'm having a beer with Q stuff.
Well, that was in like February. That was at some point. No, that was after Truth Social started.
I
So
know.
think that was okay. So February 2022.
Oh, really? That far
Yeah.
in? Okay,
Yeah.
well, time flies.
I found
Maybe that was it then, because right now it's another case of the cast members appear to be enjoying the intermission.
This is the difference. Remember Trump walking in with Macron and like manhandling the situation? This is Biden in a similar situation.
He's in Angola. You gotta be fucking kidding. That's wonderful.
Trump today reminded me of when he walked in front of the
lady.
The queen.
And then, I saw something on this. I didn't actually see the video though. Joe Biden falling asleep.
With the U.S. in support of the development of the Lobito Corridor. Tanzania views the Lobito Corridor as an integral part of a broader strategy to enhance logistics with national
Wow. That's insane, man. Okay, we got another Lavrov clip here too.
Amazing comedy sketch.
Was it 109? Chris? 109?
Yeah, but actually, hold on. I found the Biden clip from Angola. Check this out. You're gonna love this, John.
Can't wait. Let me see it.
Earlier when I said we Bidens are like poor relatives. We show up when we're invited, we stay longer than we should, eat all your food, and don't know when to go home.
Play that again.
I joked with you earlier when I said We Bidens are like poor relatives. We show up when we're invited, we stay longer than we should, eat all your food, and don't know when to go home.
Think of that in the context of his presidency. Shows up uninvited, wasn't elected, stays longer than he should, eats all our food, destroys our economy, all this bullshit, doesn't know when to leave. Fuck, man.
Yeah, you got that right. I just, there was that I guess there was a Q post about Obama wishing he had Kenyan citizenship because he was going to like flee there. And we still haven't seen that, but you have to wonder if Biden's announcing that he's fled to Angola and maybe he'll just stay there.
Never leaves. So funny. That's hilarious, man. Okay, let's go back to Lavrov a little bit. And now this is the clip. You said it's Aleppo.
Yeah, so he talks about Syria here because there was a meeting like a month ago in Astana, Kazakhstan, where Russia, Iran, and Turkey were basically hashing out what to do about Syria, and they had another meeting of that group scheduled for today. And now we hear that Assad has fallen, Syria has fallen. And I was posting earlier, like, the fact is, the same people announcing on Twitter that Assad has fallen and going all crazy about it are the same people who were convinced that Yevgeny Prigozhin was staging a coup against Vladimir Putin. He was marching the Wagner group on Moscow last year. And of course, they went along with Nicolas Maduro is stealing the election. We should be cheering for Venezuelan BLM Antifa. Like, these people are wrong about everything in geopolitics all the time, including like 3 days ago with the South Korean thing. And now, we're just assuming, they would definitely never lie about Syria.
Yeah, and Trump had a post on this. So let's read this post first, and then we'll play the video. And then I do want to talk about the South Korea thing, too, a little bit before we end the show tonight. So
Donald J. Trump on Twitter. Opposition fighters in Syria, in an unprecedented move, have totally taken over numerous cities in a highly coordinated offensive and are now on the outskirts of Damascus, obviously preparing to make a very big move toward taking out Assad. Russia, because they're so tied up in Ukraine and with the loss there of over 600,000 soldiers, seems incapable of stopping this literal march through Syria, a country they have protected for years. This is where former President Obama refused to honor his commitment of protecting the red line in the sand, and all hell broke out with Russia stepping in. But now they are, like possibly Assad himself, being forced out, and it may actually be the best thing that can happen to them. There was never much of a benefit in Syria for Russia other than to make Obama look really stupid. In any event, Syria is a mess, but is not our friend, and the United States should have nothing to do with it. This is not our fight. Let it play out. Do not get involved. God bless you, Donald Trump.
Patrick, do you remember, and this is going to be probably butchered, and I could be totally wrong here, but Thomas Wichter, a long time ago, used to talk about a conflict that took place between Americans and Russia, and wasn't it in Syria?
Deir al-Ezzor, Syria.
And we like wiped them out with like rods from
D-I-R.
God or something.
Yes, or it could be made up.
It could be.
I wonder if I can pull up the thread. It was pretty amazing. And I don't know if it's accurate. Deir Ezzor. Not Deir al, Deir Ezzor. How did I remember that? One sec. Yeah, I remember it. And the basic story was that Russians started messing with American troops. They claimed, no, it's not us. They're just mercenaries. And then the order was given, annihilate the Russians, and that they were annihilated. Now, I don't know if it actually happened, but that is the story. And it's the story that both sides tell.
I have a thread from Thomas Wichter here.
Nice.
That's on fucking Quadverum.
Well, get it, dude.
Yeah, here, let's do it.
I used to read all that stuff all the time. All right, here we go. Thomas Wichter on Quadvirum, social.quadvirum.com. Does it still exist?
Apparently.
Amazing. Thomas Wichter, thread, wisdom from a crappy musician. Sean Ono Lennon tweeted on February 25th, 2021, you can always count on America to bomb the shit out of people, no matter the decade or the president. I don't know. I think I feel that way too, Sean Ono. We didn't bomb anyone prior to World War I. The result, World War I. Oh, you know, I think he might be a neocon. We didn't bomb anyone prior to World War II. The result, World War II. We didn't bomb the North Koreans prior to the Korean War. The result, the Korean War. We didn't bomb Al Qaeda prior to 9/11. The result, 9/11. Boy, we have come a long way since Thomas Wichter was writing Saul Montez Bradley inspired war porn on frickin' Quadvirum. Damn, Thomas. Americans are infamous for ignoring problems until the house burns down. Let's just bomb people for fun. That's what I say. Or the entire community burns down, or we have a world war, totally not started by bankers and Jews. On February 7th, 2018.
That was you paraphrasing that, not Thomas Wichter.
Donald John Trump ordered the destruction of an entire Russian mobile detachment combat group of over 600 men, Deir ez-Zor, Syria. The MDCG suffered 100% casualties. Half were wounded, half were killed.
There's a group.
Putin kept pushing in Syria. We'd reached the point at which Russians were shooting at Americans daily. So Trump set a trap. We did nothing at all until February 7th, 2018. Trump said, screw proportionality. Teach them a lesson they'll never forget. Guess what Putin did in retaliation? He surrendered and left Syria. Trump ended a ritual going back decades. Why? Because Trump values American lives. It's too bad that 300 plus Russians were killed, but these were not angels. Tapes of the survivors' phone calls to Moscow were leaked. The Yankees knew we were coming, one guy said. They sent their message all right. Remember, Russia was on a bender, drunk with power. Trump stopped Vlad in his tracks. You're alive because I allow you to live, Trump said.
Did Trump really say that?
I don't think so, but it's beautiful writing. The reality is that sometimes you bomb evildoers so that we don't have a much bigger conflict later. People talk about sending in commandos instead, and then if they get killed, you'll bitch about that. We don't have time for this childish self-indulgence. The world is a dangerous, cold, heartless place. People who complain about bombing couldn't even tell you what kinds of munitions there are. Most of them are now low yield and precision guided.
Okay, let's stop there. The main thing I wanted to, that came to mind about Syria was Trump allegedly, if this story is true, bombed the shit out of some Russian soldiers out there and got them to back out of Syria. And then we have, where's it at now? I lost it.
Can we read more Thomas Wichter threads? I love his writing so much. Okay.
Yeah, he's so good, man. Very good. Okay, this is Lavrov on this whole situation, I think.
You have to respect it in all its entirety.
So who's paying the rebels who've taken parts of Aleppo? Is the Assad government in danger of falling? What is happening exactly in your view in Syria?
Well, we had a deal when this crisis started, and we are organized the Astana process of Russia, Turkey, and Iran. We meet regularly, and another meeting is being planned before the end of the year or early next year to discuss the situation on the ground. And the rules of the game is to help Syrians to come to terms with each other and to prevent separatist strengths from getting strong. That's what the Americans are doing in the east of Syria when they groom some Kurdish separatists using the profits from oil and grain, salt, the resources which they occupy. This Astana format is a useful combination of players, if you wish, and we are very much concerned. After this happened with Aleppo and surroundings, I had a conversation with the Turkish Minister of Foreign Affairs and with Iranian colleague. We agreed to try to meet this week.
Did you see it coming?
Hopefully in Doha, in the margins of this international conference. We would like to discuss the need to come back to strict implementation of the deals on Idlib area, because Idlib de-escalation zone was the place from where the terrorists moved to take Aleppo. And the arrangements reached in 2019 and 2020 provided for our Turkish friends to control the situation in the Idlib de-escalation zone and to separate the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, former Nusra, from the opposition, which is non-terrorist and which cooperates with Turkey. Apparently, it is not yet the. And another deal was the opening of M5 route from Damascus to Aleppo, which is also now taken completely by the terrorists. So we, as ministers of foreign affairs, would discuss the situation, hopefully, this coming Friday. And the military of all three countries and the security people are in contact with each other.
But the Islamist groups, the terrorists you just described, who is backing them?
Well, we have some information, and we would like to discuss with all our partners in this process the way to cut the channels of financing and arming them. The information which is being floated, and it's in the public domain, mentions the Americans, the Brits, among others. Some people say that Israel is interested in making this situation aggravate, so that Gaza is not under very close scrutiny. It's a complicated game. Many actors are involved, and I hope that the contacts which we are planning for this week will help stabilize the situation.
What do you think of Donald Trump?
I met him several times when he was having meetings with Putin, and when he received me twice, I think, in the Oval Office when I was visiting for bilateral talks. Well, I think he's a very strong person, a person who wants results, who doesn't like procrastination on anything, and this is my impression. He's very friendly in discussions, but this does not mean that that he's pro-Russian, as some people try to present him. The amount of sanctions we received under the Trump administration was very, very, very big, and we respect any choice which is made by the people when they vote. We respect the choice of American people, and we are open, as Putin said, we're open to contacts with, we have been open all along with the current administration. And we hope that when Donald Trump is inaugurated, we will understand what the ball, as Putin said, is on this side. We never severed our contacts, our ties in economy, trade, on security.
So that was interesting. When he started talking about Trump, and especially when he said the thing about we respect the choice of the American people, when everybody knows that the 2020 election was stolen. But yeah, the Syria situation, you sent something in the chat here, Chris. Patrick, do you want to read this private chat message maybe?
Yeah, so these are both posts from, or both part of the same post from the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs today on the meeting in Doha. So they're following up the meeting from last month with a meeting today. And it seems to me like, to the extent that they're actually pulling out, it's probably just what they arranged with these other countries specifically, or I should say most particularly Turkey, who is, a NATO country that is a major player in this region and going to probably take that security responsibility over from Russia. And so it's being described to us as some kind of retreat. Doesn't sound like that to me, but go ahead.
No, Patrick, going to read this?
Russia MFA today. We, foreign ministers of Russia, Iran, and Turkey, strongly reiterated territorial integrity, sovereignty, and unity of the Syrian Arab Republic. We called for immediate end of hostile activities. We stated, all of us, that we want the resolution 2254 to be fully implemented, and for this purpose called for the dialogue between the government and legitimate opposition as provided in that resolution. Also, I have no slightest doubt that the relations between Syria and Turkey must be normalized, and we will be doing anything to be helpful via telegram.
Do you have any like theories on what you think is actually going on here? Either of
Me?
you? Either of you.
I got nothing. I do not care about what is going on in that wretched desert. I appreciate Donald Trump saying we must not get involved. He is giving us information about what the narrative is going to be on our side of the water. For one reason or another, it is being played out in front of us. We are only getting stories. They're not even bothering with fake video this time, which I deeply appreciate, because the fake video insults me more than just the, telling me rumors and lies. I don't know where Bashar al-Assad is. For all we know, this could be entirely fake. The mainstream media still has the ability to gaslight the entire Western world.
That's very well said, man. And I got no counterpoints to it.
Thank you.
They are really pushing the whole overthrow idea. This was The Economist today.
Aha.
I mean, look at the picture. That it looks like bullet holes. Maybe it is bullet holes on a wall or whatever. It's pretty bold.
Ever since they tore down the statue of Saddam and started beating its face with their shoes, I don't trust anything, because most likely Saddam Hussein was not the bad guy that he was portrayed to be.
Yeah.
Well, there's kind of a weird, not similar situation going on in South Korea, though, but that whole thing is crazy. Like, where they instituted martial law, it seemed like it came out of nowhere. I hadn't heard any stories on this, but everybody's freaking out about it the other day. And then the president over there decided to, or there was an impeachment vote on him, and he like delayed it or something. And so now it's tabled till this coming week.
No, so that already happened today. Check this out. So this was this is the Financial Times. So I love to go to like the regime mouthpieces for this sort of information, because they're going to give you're at least going to know that you are getting their sales pitch. You shouldn't take any of it as true, because they're obviously trying to invert your understanding. But South Korean president survives impeachment vote. They needed 2/3 of the assembly, so 200 votes. They got 192. Hold on, I'll pull this down. I don't think this isn't very long. We can go through this.
When was this?
Today.
Because there's a story earlier that said it got tabled till next week.
Yeah, I mean,
the impeachment vote tabled until next week. What the hell is going on?
With the impeachment vote tabled until next week?
Yes.
And just so we, just as a little bit of perspective, South Korea has had 12 presidents, and I think 11 of them have been brought up on serious charges. I think about half of them have served prison time. I think 2 of them have been sentenced to death, and 1 of them committed suicide while under investigation. So when something like this happens in Korea, it usually just means it's Tuesday.
They've also been an occupied state by the regime for like 70 plus years. And technically, the Korean War has never ended. So we basically just took over half the country and said, this is a new state now, in the same way that Ukraine and Taiwan and many of these other proxy states are. Well, we're told that these are just separate countries that have their own free and fair elections, but none of that is true. Our military's been there for the entire time, and they can actually take control of running South Korea's military at any time they like with the declaration of war or emergency. And you know, it was funny with the martial law the other day. Yoon came out saying that this is to defend South Korea against North Korea. So it's really hilarious when the opposition, like his woke opposition, doesn't want the martial law that's going to defend them against North Korea. It kind of makes it clear that the North Korea threat is like a canard. You know, we saw, I don't know if you remember the summer Instagram bromance between Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin when they like went for a drive together and had a tea party and exchanged gifts.
Wasn't there like a petting zoo or something?
Yeah. He got him like a horsey.
Yeah.
That wasn't them.
Well,
Maybe
yes,
a bit.
fine, but
Well, okay. And then speaking of free and fair elections, you said that, Chris, and that reminded me of this story you sent over earlier, because this is crazy too.
Yeah.
Like the whole world is like going absolutely bonkers right before Trump gets in there.
yeah. Well, it's all happening at the same time. We've been getting so many of these stories throughout the year. I've covered a bunch of them on my show because I was like, I believe that these elections are going to be templates for what's happening in our election. And, you know, the declaration of martial law, it's virtually meaningless over there. It doesn't seem to have really changed anything, but we had a conversation about what martial law is. We can see elections being obviously overridden and stolen in countries around the world. We can't possibly then expect that the same people in our country actually care about legitimate elections here. You know, they're just violate. I mean, not that anybody's actually expressing the will of the people with fake elections, but they're making clear that the elections are fake. So I guess that's good.
Yeah. And it needs to happen here again, because we were seeing the byproduct of our false elections based on Trump not even be able to use the mandate that he allegedly was given because the other elected officials are stonewalling him.
Yeah, it's really remarkable how it's going to play out. This Romanian election thing is, I think, more brazen than anything else we've seen, though. In Germany, we see them threatening to ban AfD, Alternative for Deutschland, because they're just, you know, wrong thinkers. And that's brazen, but they haven't actually done it because effectively they can't. In Romania, they're saying Russia helped them, so we're going to run it again. Is that the gist?
You should read this section here.
Indeed. What's happening from Politico? This Sunday, Romanians were due to vote in the second round runoff election for their next president. They had two candidates from whom to pick: center-right small-town mayor Elena Lasconi or Călin Georgescu, a far-right independent who was catapulted from obscurity into the lead in the first round of voting on November 24th. On Friday, Romania's constitutional court decided the first round of the election was so badly damaged by an alleged Russian operation to influence the result that the whole process needed to be scrapped and started again. Current President Klaus Iohannis has been forced to extend his term. Political candidates are trying to regroup and preparing to rerun their expensive campaigns, and millions of voters are wondering whether they can trust the process at all. No date has yet been set for the new votes, but that will have to happen soon.
You should read these next two as well, because this is what they're saying is the Russian bullshit.
How did we get here? Barely a month ago, Georgescu was almost unheard of inside his own country, with no party backing and a low profile in traditional media. But all that changed in the final 2 weeks before the November 24th first round of the presidential election. Some 25,000 pro-Georgescu TikTok accounts burst into action in what Romanian analysts say was a coordinated attempt to sway the election in his favor. You got to freaking arrest your Supreme Court justices, Romania. You got to put them in jail. Don't even charge them. Just put them in a hole and let them stay there.
Because they're basically saying that he had a good social media campaign out of nowhere, and it was Russia's fault. So now we got to shut this thing down. and do it without social media this time.
Well, and they got to get angry at TikTok too, because we're like 6 weeks away from when TikTok is going to be divested from ByteDance and then become obviously part of DJT.
You think that'll happen?
Do I think it'll happen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes. I mean, narratively speaking, the divestiture is going to happen at that point, but I think it's already happened 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And Jeff Yass, who has like $20 billion in TikTok, also has a big chunk in DJT. So I think we're going to see like the Twitter model there, and that's just going to go under that umbrella. But maybe I'm wrong. The last section of this article is really interesting too, and TikTok comes up again.
I got it.
What happens next?
Yep.
What happens next? Georgescu said he will file a complaint with Romania's Supreme Court, but there's no clear legal route to overturning the Constitutional Court ruling. He has not said yet whether he intends to stand again in another election. On December 1st, Romanian voters also elected a new parliament. Next week, a broad coalition made up of 4 parties will form a government that will work on organizing the new presidential election. The coalition will name a prime minister to be approved by the incumbent president. Iohannis's mandate would have ended on December 21st, but he said he will stay in power until his successor is sworn in. In the meantime, criminal investigators have launched an inquiry into the cyber attacks on election infrastructure, which are detailed in the declassified intelligence files. This is the 3rd investigation opened by Romanian prosecutors after the general inspector launched 2 others looking at voter corruption, computer system fraud, and campaign money laundering of at least 1 million euros. Boy, that's a chunk of change, ain't it? Wait, €1 million? Anyway, TikTok is also under fire at the EU level, having been summoned to the European Parliament for questioning over its content moderation during the presidential primary, and with the European Commission recently ordering it to preserve data on the Romanian election. TikTok did shut down 3 influence campaigns after the first round poll. There are also calls on the Constitutional Court to cancel the parliamentary election, which was sandwiched between the 2 rounds of the presidential contest. Some parties point to the fact that the ballot was held during the same hybrid attacks that triggered Friday's annulment ruling.
Isn't that incredible, that last part? So they had a parliamentary election between the first and second round of the presidential election, and that election is supposedly fine, while the presidential election has to be thrown out.
Wow.
You can't call an election stolen because there were TikToks.
Well, that's also definitely true. But if you're going to say that the system is too corrupted to hold one type of election, you'd have to think that it would apply to other types of elections.
And that new parliament is going to work on figuring out, the one that was elected is going to figure out how to do the presidential election.
So it's basically like whatever they're able to sell to the public as the reason for the transfer of power to their guy is what they're going to tell the public. And then they just have the other regime aligned countries do business with that guy. The transnational corporations and whatever governments are on their side will just do business with the one set of representatives rather than the other. And, you know, we've talked about this at length with the Venezuela example, with Juan Guaido being recognized as president, even though he was obviously never president. I mean, this is just what they do. And so, you know, you said before, what do you think's happening in Syria? If something is happening, it's just that.
Where in their constitution does the Supreme Court have the power to annul an election?
I wish we had that.
I don't.
Well, if we did, well, first of all, we don't have real elections, but if we did have that, then they would just use it against us because they set these systems up to be able to do this sort of thing.
Yeah, so true. In Romania, I don't know how cucked the people are, but they're not voting their way out of jack shit. And I don't know how well the Romanian military can defend its own people. I think they've got some kind of program similar to what we've got here in Brazil. I don't know what they have in Romania, but they're fucked if they don't do something about this. Supreme Court just said, now we're going to make this little we're going to make this little weasel president for life. So, you know, fuck you. That's worse than the United States. I'm impressed.
It's so important for us to expose election systems somewhere so that everybody can see it. I mean, they are exposed, but you know what I mean? Like if it had happened here this last election, none of this other bullshit would be happening, I don't think. But Trump's got to tackle this issue somewhere at some point. It's gonna be real disappointed if he doesn't. But
if he doesn't, then we've been punked.
I don't think that's the case. But
yeah, I don't think that's the case either. But at some point, you have to start thinking that if no one wants to fix the election system, I mean, otherwise you just got to start telling people, hey, you're on your own, and like you looking after your own sovereign best interest is a necessity unless you want to spend your life as a slave. And a lot of people, by the way, seem to want that.
Yeah, a lot of people are very comfortable sliding right back into that.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I don't think anybody should want that. And it seems like everybody who understands that's what's happening has some sort of responsibility to resist that. But if people want that, maybe that's what they're allowed to have.
Oh man.
Like, how are you going to tell somebody that they're not allowed to be a slave if they want the incentives of slavery?
When you think about it, whenever you have fiat currency, you've got slavery.
Yeah.
And the masters are the people who print the fiat currency.
And most people just want to watch television and buy things with fiat currency.
Cryptocurrency across the board has gone up. I mean, even the Hawk-Tuah girl launched a coin. I don't know if you guys heard about that.
I did. I didn't buy any of the Hawk-Tuah coin.
Good thing you didn't.
I hear it was very quickly pump and dumped, which given who was doing it, I respect it in a really twisted way.
She's probably going to jail.
I kind of hope so. I mean, I respect it, but also when you do shit like that, you do need to go to jail. I don't think that Haley Welch needs to go to jail. I think she was probably an innocent. Probably. Or maybe not. I don't know. But no.
Who knows?
Yeah, fiat currency is bad, and sound money, you at least have a path towards not being a slave.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about going through the rants? And Patrick, you want to do another two? Is there any other stories that you guys want to go through?
No.
I've been up since like 4 a.m., so I'm beat.
Well, let me talk to everybody about the unbelievable products that we've got at tulipblooms.shop. Right now, all Christmas themed items at tulipblooms.shop are buy one, get one half off. What are we talking about here? Well, we're talking about the rainfall products that are buy one, get one half off. The Fresh Bloom deodorant, buy one, get one half off. We also have sandalwood products, buy one, get one half off. And then the absolute crowning jewel, the frankincense, gold, and myrrh, the Three Kings collection. We have that in bar soap. We have it in rainfall. We have it in Epic Moisture Creamy Body Butter. We also have it in the liquid hand soap. And what's so special about this is that not only does it have the amazing essential oils of frankincense and myrrh, gifts from the Magi to the baby Jesus, we have put a gorgeous, you can't see it here, but when you put it on, a gorgeous titanium dioxide gold mica, super microscopic. And when we put it on our skin, we glow like the angels. It's labor intensive to make this stuff, but when we put the gold mica in it, we mix it around, everybody just gasps in awe at how beautiful it is. Put it on your skin, frankincense, gold, and myrrh, the Three Kings collection at tulipblooms.shop right now through Monday night at midnight. Buy one, get one half off. And don't forget, use promo code Badlands for 10% off. Every time you do that, 25% of the sale goes directly into an account that pays Badlanders' salaries. Tulipblooms.shop, the new Three Kings collection. Buy one, get one half off. Your skin will thank you. Promo code Badlands.
Great Christmas gift items right there.
Damn straight. Check out the gift boxes too. They're amazing.
Absolutely. We do have one Badlands boost from last week. It's from 1027JS, who I think left a rant tonight. says supporting DPH one rant at a time. We appreciate you, Joe. You certainly are doing that. Also, guys, don't forget to get your GART tickets. Vegas coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Couple months, I guess, but it's our next event. Make sure you get there, badlandsmedia.tv/events. And Patrick, you want to take us through some of these?
Yeah, I think I've got them. All right, there we go. So we have Keith O'Higgins, $1. Ruth Payne, who was the Oswald's handler in Dallas, is still alive. Dag nappet. I did not know that. She must be older than dirt. $20. Good beard. Patrick, I love that you are a Juan Merchan truther. Perhaps the world's only. Trump now occupies France. I do like that. And Juan Merchan does not exist. That is my current position. $1. Keith O'Higgins. I bet Trump wore the yellow tie to indicate that Macron and the French have surrendered and are cowards. They are cowards. No, they're not cowards. I don't like shitting on the French. It's cliche. Running with a Gun is now a monthly supporter. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
$20, 1027JS. Thanks and thank you back. $1. Keith O'Higgins. I wonder if Stalichnaya, going bankrupt this week, has a narrative tell or just a red pickled herring. Very nice. Stalichnaya is Russian for of the table. So it's just saying this is the vodka you put on your table. $1. Keith O'Higgins. Jill is just happy to sit next to a guy who doesn't smell like shit and piss. We have $5 from Wedged Gravy. Biden falling asleep cannot be real. But Jim Carrey in a latex mask falling asleep. That can be real. I can't wait till he yanks that mask off. $5, another 179. Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you back. And the crowning jewel of all of our rants today, $117. Thank you so much from Micro Toolmaker. Thank you, Badlands, and thank you, Micro Toolmaker. Really appreciate the generous rant. $1, Keith O'Higgins. I heard Rumble in Romania was pushing and platforming Make Gypsies Great Again with the Tate brothers. Nice.
What?
I think he made that up.
Oh,
$5.
I didn't see who that was from.
Have you guys checked the House, Senate, and President vote totals yet? Have fun. I think Chris might have.
Yeah, we kind of talked about that just at the beginning, how our landslide has disappeared.
$1, Keith O'Higgins. Hawk-Tua Girl and Kamala Harris have a lot in common. They both need to put their heads down and get back to work. That's right. Suck it up, buttercups.
And he's referencing, by the way, a line that Kamala Harris's supposed husband said about Kamala Harris.
Indeed. That was very nice. $10. Lopat 67. Another great discussion. Onward and upward. Thank you for your discipline. Keep going. I intend to. Guys, hit the thumbs up. Thumbs up for us, will you?
Hit that thumbs up. And yeah, sorry I was late tonight, guys. Sorry we're calling a little early too, but losing my voice. Tired. And you might see me tomorrow night on Badlands. I might be a guest on a show, but I don't know if I'm supposed to disclose that. You might see me Monday twice as well. So I don't know if I'm supposed to disclose that too.
Get a good night's sleep, my friend.
I can't wait to go to bed. But kids had fun. It was worth it. But thank you guys for covering for me. And hit the thumbs up. We will see you all next time.
Good night.
Witness the motion picture event that is being called fucking Amazeballs.
Do you see the difference in the M there?
It's go time. 25 later on my.
You got a seriously weird ass way of looking at shit.
If you look at the waviness of the little flag that comes out of the R is wavy. The one in the first hump in the M is not wavy. It's just a pure arc. Does that make sense?
We want to warn our viewers that these are extremely graphic images.
Give me a second, dude. This is more autistic than I've ever been before.